destroying this earth. After you're gone, the world is getting to one end. All the signs are so clear. The world is getting to one end. Oh, slowly but surely. Now you're going to realize you're destroying this earth. Well, now you're going to realize you're destroying sweet earth. Oh. Children dying, Lord, everywhere.
Sign all the time.
Destroying the nature everywhere.
Sign all the time.
All over the seas everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Sign all the time.
Sahara expanding every year.
Sign all the time.
Take a minute, think about the world.
Praying for the children of the future.
Let's save this world. Let's save this world.
Mr. Businessman,
Save this world.
save this world.
Save this world. Children of the future.
Give it hand.
Children of the future.
Children of the future. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Children of the future.
Children of the future. I do it for my Calvin.
Do it.
I do it for my teenage.
Let's do it.
Me do it for the children.
Do it.
Me do it for my children.
Just do it.
So why can't you do it for your children too? If you all can give it hand, we all can do so much. Oh mama, to create my greener world. To create my greener world.
Children of the future.
Children of the future.
Children of the future.
Save it for my children.
Children of the future.
Give it hand. Save the children of the world.
All right, good evening to all. Good evening, Ghana. Good evening, Kumasi.
Fly away.
You can fly to the sky.
Indeed, we are the children of the future.
In the end, when you come down, things are still the same. The same people,
Lectures resume today.
same faces,
Same faces.
same earth, the same planet.
Same fly.
Thank you to all lecturers for coming to our classrooms today.
It's the only place for mankind.
Let's save this world.
Indeed, we are saving the world through us postgraduate students.
Save this world. Children of the future.
Ayo, mama,
I am back on air with you, and then we are going to discuss a lot of things concerning the resumption of lectures on campus.
My
I am Francis Mintah, popularly called FM. Before we move on to the substantive issue, that is resumption of lectures today and matters arising and then the way forward, I hope you have been following the news today. When you follow the news, you realize that there is a situation in Ukraine and Russia. It is a matter of concern to all of us. We have our brothers and sisters studying in Ukraine and then Russia.
Pour some sugar on me, pour some sugar. Pour some sweetness on me.
They are going through a lot and we need to discuss it.
Pour some sugar. Pour some sugar on me, pour some sugar.
So I have with me Kingsford Mintah,
Pour some sugar on me,
who is a political analyst
pour some sugar on me, pour some sugar. Pour some
specializing in international affairs. And then Jake as well, he's also a political analyst.
Lord have mercy. Don't pass and come on.
Stay with us as we begin the conversation.
Oh yeah, they give me a 7. Me body here overhauling. Greasy kakra on the gun jumping. For all you kakra for me reading man. Now what it to second gear now yeswa. Push it on the field, yeah. Shells have a moon yeswa. Now me buy my old dear Jerry Mill. Boy, I bought some more boy. Now they buy the muye drupa. My love told the goodness word. I tell you it. Told the goodness word. Told the goodness word. Told the goodness word.
All right, you're welcome, Kingsford.
Welcome, Mintah.
Okay,
Sure.
okay. This Focus FM and this Grasag Hour. And we following the news, we've realized that there are issues happening in Ukraine and then Russia. And as you being a political analyst and then with much in-depth knowledge in international affairs, we want you to just give us something. Okay, so Jake, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So you and then Jake will do as the honors of digesting the issues to us. So let me start with you, Kingsford. What is the issue between Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, okay. So thank you very much, and good evening to our listeners. Now, like when you talking about the tension between Ukraine and Russia, we can say this is more or less a geopolitical issue, because we are talking about a situation where Russia feels that its mandate or its sovereignty is being encroached upon. So if we are talking about Russia being a Soviet Union, and when issue got out of hand in the year 2021. Yeah, sure. In January last year, let's say Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was talking about, he urged the US President, that is Joe Biden, to allow Ukraine to join NATO. And this angered the Russian president very much because he felt that Ukraine, let's say in economics wise, Ukraine does not have the specified measures to join NATO in a sense.
Okay.
So it angered Russia to the extent that it sends troops to the Ukraine military base, and they started last year December. Yeah. So what happened was that the US also began hyping the deployment of the Russians, and this has escalated up to now. And as we can see right now, the okay, let me say the whole world is tensed as we speak right now because there is a first engagement. Russia has attacked Ukraine, that is Kiev, that is the capital city, and other cities, and tensions are rising or heightening. Sure.
All right. So Jake, he has given us a little background. I know you have more, so you can also share with us. But I want to also add on to this that maybe you can add. Why is it that in your own thinking as a lover of politics and then international issues, why is it that Ukraine want to join NATO and then EU and not remain as such?
Okay, so basically NATO represents the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Okay.
It was formed after the Second World War to protect North Atlantic countries from Russia and certain countries' aggressions. Currently, there's a system that protects the West from Russian missiles, which is currently found in Turkey. And if the missile is sent, it's intercepted around that line so that it doesn't get onto the western part of the continent. If Ukraine is allowed to join NATO, it means that NATO bases can be formed in Ukraine, which is just on the border of Russia. What it also means is that Russia cannot deploy any forces in case Russia came under attack. Russia cannot do anything to protect itself. Of course, north, east, and south of Ukraine enters into Russia.
Okay.
Ukraine used to be part of the Greater Russia, that's the fatherland as they call it. Interestingly, this attack coincided with the celebration they call the Defense of the Fatherland Day, which was yesterday.
Okay.
And so this whole drills and every movement that they did was strategically done in a way that on that day they would defend Ukraine as a way of bringing back the old USSR. And also, the current president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky,
Okay.
he wasn't a politician. Zelensky was a comedian.
Okay.
Yes, and he made a joke.
And then he was able to win by 73%.
Exactly.
Wow.
He made a joke that he would stand for president.
Okay.
He was a loved comedian. And so once he made the joke, initially he was joking. But then over a period of time, people fell in love with his ideas. And before he realized, he had won the elections and he was president. So making a speech like he did, that he wants Ukraine to join NATO, was quite risky. Even though that's what the West wants to hear, Russia doesn't want to hear that. China doesn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
North Korea is not happy with those pronouncements. And they're all on the other side of NATO. So this whole issue is one, I wouldn't like to say a lack of political experience, but an overambitious Ukraine, and also Russia, which has always been more hungry, waiting to attack at the nearest opportunity. You see, this whole issue has been left to drag for too long.
Okay.
When the Russians sent troops into Crimea, which they did in a way that was not conventional, they didn't send troops who were wearing Russian badges or wearing having a regular cap badge of a Russian military. They went in as civilians who were more like rebelling. However, further research revealed that these civilians, also called civilians, were actually people who were trained soldiers, and in fact, their civilian apparel they were wearing had ranks and names on it, written in a coded form so that an average person wouldn't identify. But among themselves, they would notice that, okay, there's a captain, there's a major, there's a private. These being military ranks.
Okay.
So after they successfully annexed Crimea from Ukraine, that was more like a test. Crimea is a very important location in that the sea that passes into Ukraine for the naval base of Ukraine passes through Crimea. So annexing Crimea and taking the bridge that connects the two cities more like cripples Ukraine. When this was done, Ukraine didn't show any form of aggression. They sat back and used diplomacy, already signaling to the Russians that they have nothing to show. And then suddenly, we found troop movements towards the east, the north, and the south of Ukraine, which started years in advance. I would say months in advance. How all this started, civilians in Ukraine were forced or were encouraged by the president to pick up arms to defend their country.
Okay, so do you think the war has started?
It started way before people started calling it war.
Okay.
Yes. I'm not sure many people know, but
so what category will you? Is it a civil war or any other type of war?
Well, this is not a civil war because it's not something among civilians. You know, this is more like an invasion. You see, because Russia has deployed soldiers, not civilians. This time on, they've sent in tanks, they've sent in blood to treat injured soldiers. They are really prepared for this. They sent their navy towards the southern banks, so they are ready for full-scale attack. And in fact, they've blown the air bases of Ukraine, and the Kiev airport has partly been also damaged. So all this shows that they're actually at full-scale assault.
All right. So let me come back to Kingsford. This thing that is going on, okay, it has really affected almost everybody.
Yeah, sure.
So how is this thing affecting the students in Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah, so what we can say is that just like any geopolitical conflict, its effect is very gross. And as we are speaking now, you see, like wars, when wars do happen in countries, it affects even the average person. Now we talk about students schooling in that country, or let's say international students in that particular country. So as we are speaking right now, we have calls coming from NUGS, NUGS, that is the National Union of Ghana students, calling upon the government to bring out a plan to evacuate the Ghanaian students who are in Russia and Ukraine. And it is one step that other countries have also taken. I remember before the invasion, or before the first bombing that Russia did to Ukraine, Joe Biden had set out a plan to evacuate his citizens from Russia and Ukraine. And so we are saying that when wars like this happen, definitely students are affected. And as it is right now, yeah, we are, and today the Speaker of Parliament, the Minority Speaker of Parliament, Haruna Idrisi, was calling upon the Speaker of Parliament to engage the Finance Minister, the Minister of Interior, so that they can have a roadmap to evacuate the students from, or that is Ghanaian students who are in Russia and Ukraine. Sure.
All right. So Jake, I believe every war has economical connotations. So how is this thing going to affect the economy of Ghana?
Okay, so it's a long shot, but what I foresee and what is happening is the members of EU and the Western countries, they overly rely on Russia for gas, natural gas. And it was long overdue, because last 2 years, the French finance minister mentioned that they should have a roadmap of reducing their reliance on Russia. This same man, before COVID came, said they should find a way of diversifying value chains across the world, because in case of a catastrophe like what happened with COVID, the world will be crippled, and that's what we are seeing. So with COVID happening and the fact that Russia's gas is being over-relied upon by Europe, EU has now decided to abruptly cut Russian gas supply from coming to the rest of EU. And looking at other energy giants like Qatar, the United States, Canada, that's where the focus is switching to. And overall, the reliance on fossil fuel is also going to increase. So what it means is the demand for oil is going to go up. And I can't really calculate or say the
Wow.
exact
So which means the 7.8,
7.99.
7.99 that we are buying currently is going to. There's
It's
a
very,
likelihood.
Very, very likely.
Wow.
And another interesting thing is these power badges that will be sent to Europe from the United States.
Okay, not to cut you, but so does it mean that when it happens that way, is it that the managers of the economy are not managing it well, or it's just an economic force that we have to deal with?
It's an economic shock that I don't think most people had planned for. Nobody wanted Russia to go to war, and it's going to affect the whole world. Because currently, most European Union countries are freezing assets of known Russian billionaires and oligarchs, and also the shell companies which the Russian government is using to finance some of these things is also being unveiled and then frozen. So eventually, it's going to affect not just Russia; it's going to affect Russian citizens a lot. But some of these shell companies are actually employing Western people. For instance, Chelsea is owned by Abramovich. And Abramovich's name was actually mentioned in the British Parliament yesterday. That they want sanctions to be put on him because he's a good friend of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
So imagine Chelsea being sanctioned, and let's say they're forcing Abramovich to sell Chelsea. It's going to cause economic shock to certain value chains along the line. And this is just Chelsea. Imagine other companies and these oil giants that are owned. There's a lot of oil companies that are partly owned by Russia. So if this is going to happen, it's going to be, cause a lot of ripple effects across the world.
All right. Okay. So Kingsford, what are your last words? In conclusion, what do you want to put out there? In a form of suggestion, how can this war be subsided, or how do you think Russia and Ukraine should treat the whole matter in order not to affect our colleague students, our brothers and sisters also studying in Ukraine and then Russia, and then even across the borders of these countries? Because I know that when war comes up, it really affects adjoining neighbors as well. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, thank you, Frimpong. The whole thing is that I think diplomacy is always a key thing. Normally, fine, we might talk about weeks ago when the Vice President of the USA, Kamala Harris, went to have talks with Ukraine so that they could have reached a consensus in order to prevent all these things. It is the fact that, fine, Russia has launched its first attack. But I always have that we should all understand that diplomacy is the key thing in every dealing. I am sure that if we are all let's say recognizing the sovereignty of states, like if Russia, for instance, would acknowledge that Ukraine is a sovereign state, and hence it need not be encroached upon, right? I think we might have calm nerves because in the end of it all, diplomacy plays the key role. So I am suggesting that if nothing at all, Vladimir should at least calm down. Zelensky should also calm down. We have the world's biggest powers, like the UK is there, the USA is there, other countries like China. I mean, China hasn't said anything yet. Germany has said something, but not quite in taking position. But what we are trying to say is that these countries, that is the bigger countries, I know they have taken steps to calm down nerves. They should at least fuel the diplomacy rate at which they are speaking about this issue. We shouldn't be biased in our thinking, as in speaking about calming down nerves but taking sides. It's a world problem, and since it's a geopolitical issue, it needs keen diplomacy, and I think that diplomacy is the only way to resolve this issue. I am hoping that in the coming days Today being the first time that Russia has launched its attack on Ukraine's capital city, that is Kiev. In the coming days, diplomacy will prevail, and such attacks wouldn't continue.
All right, thank you, Kingsford. So diplomacy should reign. So Jake, your last words on that.
Well, as much as I hope diplomacy will prevail, I think diplomacy has failed to this extent. The standpoints and the polls of all the Western presidents and leaders show that nobody is willing to budge.
Sure.
The interesting thing is they cannot send troops to Ukraine. That would even make it worse. And so most of the cards are in the hands of Russia and its leaders. So I think we should just wait and see how this pans out. But I don't see any good ending for Ukraine at this point.
All right. Thank you very much, my political analyst, Kingsford, and then Jake. I really appreciate, and I believe that whoever listening to this had really learned a lot about this conflict between Ukraine and then Russia. We'll be moving straight to talk to the president, that is the president of Grasag University, His Excellency of Akabna Edujemfi. So keep your dial still locked here, and this is Grasag Hour.
You can run, but you can hide. Stop destroying this earth. There will be time. It will be too late to regret what you doing to this earth. There will be time. It will be too late to regret what you doing to this earth. If you can give a chance to see how this world is gonna be after you're gone. The world is getting to wonder. All the signs are so clear. The world is getting to wonder. Oh, slowly but surely. Now you're going to realize you're destroying this earth. Well, now you're going to realize you're destroying sweet earth. Oh. Children dying, lost everywhere.
Sign all the time.
Destroying the nature everywhere.
Sign all the time.
All over the seas everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Sign all the time.
Sahara expanding every year.
Sign all the time.
Take a minute, think about the world.
Okay, so the president of Grasag University is seated. Of Akabna Edujemfi, you are welcome to Grasag Hour.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, those watching us live on Facebook, and then also those who have joined via Zoom, you will see our good-looking president, and you can bring in your questions, your comments, and then your suggestions. Whatever thing that we are discussing today, we want you to be more interactive. We want to interact with you, the postgraduate students out there. Wherever you are, you can send in your questions and then your comments and your suggestions to the number 0575 943 943. 0575 943 943. Mr. President, you are welcome once again.
Thank you.
Okay, so after this long period of UTAC strike, I saw that you were still working for the people. So how was it? Can you share some experience with us? Certain things that you were like you went through. Can you share some little experience with us concerning the time that there was the strike, and the strike was at its peak, and then the things that you had done for the student populace in order to let us reach where we have reached now.
All right. A very good evening to our listeners, particularly the graduate students of Grasag, of KNUST. I would say it hasn't been easy being Grasag president at this time. During this period, through the national executives, we were working hand in hand to make sure that government and UTAG come to a compromise. But we are in KNUST also, so our local students would also want Grasag KNUST to also come out with something. But as I said earlier, I made it clear to them that this is a national issue, and as such, it should be treated through the national front.
Sure.
God being so good, we are here. UTAG is back. Not fully, but then we are believing that government will honor its part in the negotiation. Thank you.
All right. It is very heartwarming to hear from your president. Mr. President, on 23rd February, there was a green sheet. We are students of KNUST. Whenever we see the green letter ahead, we are so much enthused to download and look at. And it reads, it's from the office of the registrar, and then it's addressed to the members of the university community, where we students, we are part of the university community. And he says, general notice, resumption of lectures 2022 academic year. It is announced for the information of students and staff that following the suspension of the industrial action by UTAG, lectures for the 2022 academic year will begin on Thursday, 24th February 2022. All are kindly to take note accordingly. Thank you. Signed by the Deputy Registrar for Academic Affairs. So, and today is Thursday. Today is the 24th February. So, as the president, this information that came, is it that lectures really resumed today?
Officially, lectures, yes. Officially, lectures resume today. I can make mention of two postgraduate study classes that I know of that went for lectures today.
Okay.
One at the College of Science and one at the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. So it is confirmed that lectures has begun.
Okay. And these people that you said that they had lectures, what were some of the did they share some challenges with you? Because coming from a long period of hibernation with regards to academics, and then lectures are starting today, did they share some challenges that they face in their first class?
Not really. They were just should I say enthused about the fact that they are starting lectures. It was a first year class, and of course first year postgraduate class, when you go for the first time, it's just a matter of networking and then getting to meet your new lecturers too, particularly those who are not from KNUST. Yes, so that's basically, the feedback that I got.
Okay, so the feedback that you got was positive.
Yes.
Okay, and then there were some issues concerning timetables. Okay, issues concerning not the academic timetable, not the academic schedule of the university. We'll come to that, but I'm talking about the timetable of the classes, the respective postgraduate classes. Some were complaining about the fact that, or we've heard that some are complaining of the fact that they are not getting access to their timetable in order to know when they are supposed to have a class, and then which class do they have at a particular day, and then what time. So as the president, as our father, what
Senior brother.
no, you are our father because you are the one leading us. So as a president, what are those people whose timetable they can't access? What are the things that you want to tell them? What should be the process they need to go through in order to get access to their timetables?
Okay. Firstly, I'll say if you can't get your timetable, go to your department office and talk to your head of department.
Okay.
I think that should be the first point of call. If you're already in the system, that is, if you know the system, how the system runs, you can go straight and talk to your postgraduate coordinator. I'm of the belief that the HOD and the postgraduate coordinator should be able to provide you with your timetable. If you don't have your timetable yet, I'll just say stay calm. Lectures just began. Hopefully, by the end of the weekend or the week, I'm sure the timetables will come out, because by Monday, school will be in full session.
Okay. All right. So the president is saying that we should keep calm. So we want to also talk about ideal students. Okay. There are a lot of questions that people are asking me, and then other people that we sent out there. And then this is the question they are asking. Ideal students are traveling all the way from various places to a particular center, and they want to know, will lectures come off during weekend, that is this Saturday and Sunday, for the ideal students, so that if anyone is traveling from a particular area, the person will know that, okay, I'm coming to learn. So will ideal students have lectures during the weekend?
Yes, this coming Saturday and Sunday, Ideal is having lectures
at all the centers.
All the centers.
Okay.
Now, let me say this. All Ideal students can take note. Go on the website, on the Ideal website.
Okay.
Download your timetable. If you have lectures, it is going with this Saturday and Sunday, it is going to come off. So you shouldn't have in mind that because of the strike, lectures are not going to come this weekend, it's going to start next week. No. If you have lectures this weekend, it's going to come off. Yes.
Okay. So which means whoever is traveling, that person should make it a point to be in class.
Sure. If you have lectures, you have to be in class, because lectures has already begun. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then with the timetables, the link, do you have a fair idea of how they are going to get the information, that is, access the link? Is it that they have to type www.idknstid or what?
Oh, it's once you've registered, you should be able to have access to your timetable, right?
Okay.
It comes with it. So once they've registered, right, on the Ideal website, it's going to be there. So they don't have I wouldn't say they don't have a problem, but then once you've registered and you go on there, you'd see the timetable, and then you download.
Okay. All right. So those of us who are at home listening to us, and then you are thinking whether there will not be lectures on Saturday and Sunday. The president has really confirmed that there will be lectures, and then
the university has even a message with regards to that.
Okay.
That Ideal lectures will come off this Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. So those of us in the Ideal classes should make it a point to attend. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And you want to know concerning biometric registration for Ideal students. What are the measures that have been put in place for that?
I would say, because Ideal has centers, right? the UITS will move their equipments there to go and register them or allow them to do the biometric registration. So as and when they are coming to your center, it will be made known to you, and then you go and do your registration,
And
biometric registration.
Okay, and what are the documents required for someone to do his or her biometric registration?
Or basically is your thumb. You just use your thumb to go and verify. And
Okay.
that's
But what about the admission letter? Are they supposed to go there?
no. When you just go, just put your thumb on the.
I'm talking
biometric
about
machine.
the first years, not the continuing students. The first years.
You don't need your admission letter.
But they have to have their
at
reference
least
number.
you should have your. Okay, to be on the safe side, right?
Okay.
If you have your admission letter with you, that is fine.
Okay. All
Right. But if you don't, you should know your reference number, right? Yes.
So after biometric registration, what next are they supposed to do?
Ideally, you are supposed to do your biometric before you go online and register.
Okay.
But
And do course registration.
and do course registration.
Okay.
But because of the strike, I know IDL, they were allowed to pay some certain amount of money, and then their portal was open for them to register. So some have gone ahead to do the registration. Fine, that's okay. If you haven't done the registration, if you've done the registration, the biometric is the most important. So you, when the time is due and the UITS come to your center, I would advise everyone who hasn't done it should make it a point to go and do the biometric registration.
Okay. And there are people also complaining that they go online, they go to the AIM app to register their courses, and then their courses are not uploaded. So what is the solution to that? What should they do?
The UITS is in the best position to address that challenge. If they are not getting any link, the UITS also has a help desk, and we've circulated their flyers on our various pages. Now, if you don't have access to that flyer, you can get in touch with any of the Grasag executives, the PRO in particular, and then we would help you out with it.
Okay, all right. And you are giving us a lot of information, and then the more you give us the information, the questions too they are bringing in. So with respect to the course registration, okay, is it that they have to print after registering? Is it that they have to print and submit, or after doing the online registration, then they see the things uploading, the courses uploaded on the sheet, then that's all?
Okay. So this is to the general postgraduate community. After doing your online registration, firstly you do your biometric, then you do the online registration, and then you submit to your postgraduate coordinator to sign, right? Some departments you leave a copy of the printed course registration with the
And then signed.
signed one.
Okay.
Some departments allow you to leave it with the postgraduate coordinator, who will then take it to the graduate school. Now, if your department doesn't allow that, the right thing is actually, after you've done the biometric and then you do your online, you take it to your postgraduate coordinator, and then finally you submit it at the graduate school. So if you haven't gone through this process, that is, if you didn't leave it with your postgraduate coordinator, then I would advise you submit the slip, the course registration slip, to the graduate school, which is located opposite the KSB building. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you an interesting question.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So you've been in school after your undergraduate studies. You've done 6 years again, 2 years masters, and then now in your final year PhD, fourth year, right? And you've experienced a lot of, or not to say a lot of, but some strikes action from UTAC, and then TEU, and then other senior staff, and then other associations on campus. So can you share with us some of, based on your experience, what do you think we should look out for after the resumption of lectures, after this strike? What should students look out for? What, based on your experience during those times where there were UTAG strike, TEU strike, and all those stuffs, and then after they resumed, what are some of the experiences you can share with us? How are we going to feel? Is it that the lectures are going to take us fast through the course outline, or the lectures are going to be very mild in their teaching? And then is it going to be that we are not going to write midterm, we are not going to write exam? Like, what are, based on your experiences, can you share with us?
Okay. Fortunately or unfortunately for this strike, students hadn't been to lectures, so they didn't have any lecture materials to actually learn from. Over the years, you realize that it's the strikes happen when school is in session. So even if lecturers are on strike, you still have your lecture materials. You've gone for lectures, some notes to read. Some people use it as a period to cover all the things they weren't able to learn before the strike. But this time, there hadn't been any class. And I remember Grasag was looking out for some first years for the matriculation for the colleges. And we had to actually consult people we know that, do you know any first year in, say, College of Science, College of Humanities? Because they hadn't even been to lectures for you to actually know that, this person is doing this program, or this person is doing this course. So, for what they are to expect, I mean, the strike is not fully over. It has just been suspended. Okay. So once the lecturers are back, I would advise and encourage that they make good use of them as they are around. So if your lecturer comes around to give you the course outline, I advise you ask, and the lecture materials, I advise you know where you are learning, where you are starting from, and where you are learning to, so that even if we don't hope that the strike should come again, but if the unfortunate happens, you still know that, I can do some self-study up to this point. So basically, they should make the most out of the lectures as they are back.
Okay, the president said basically we should make good use of our lectures as they are back. You are still listening to Grasag Hour on Focus 94.3 FM. You can bring in your suggestions, your comments, and then your questions to the WhatsApp number 0575 943 943 0575 943 943. We are having an interactive segment with the president of Grasag KNUST, who is in the person of Mr. Wofakwabena Edujemfi, who very soon become Dr. Wofakwabena Edujemfi. Yeah, so Mr. President, looking at our time, I think we have a very limited time now. But today I saw a flyer, General Assembly. What is General Assembly about?
General Assembly is basically the highest decision-making body of Grasag KNUST. And as we are beginning a new semester, we have to let the General Assembly know the state of Grasag and the programs that we have for the General Assembly. So we are meeting on Tuesday to brief them about the agenda as of the state of Grasag and the programs that we have for the semester.
So it is coming off on the Tuesday,
That's the 1st
1st
of
March.
March, 2 p.m. College of Science, Alote Auditorium.
Okay.
But most people call it the College of Science Auditorium.
So someone asked me a question that would there be item 13?
Oh, this is a postgraduate program, so we at least we must accord ourselves with the needed item.
We must accord.
Item 13 is massively
Okay,
assured.
and then concerning this general meeting, I think due to COVID-19, I saw a link
Yes.
that we should register.
Yes.
So can you give us a little information about that?
Okay, so a link is out. If you can't be present there, you fill the form at least so that we know the number that we are expecting. The Vice Chancellor is very particular about the COVID protocols, and so we want to enforce it. Thank you.
Okay. And I saw a message from someone, and the person is trying to ask that you see, we have ideal students amongst us. So this General Assembly, not all of us can join in person. So are there measures taken to consideration in order to accommodate those who are not on campus so that they can also join and then get the necessary information they need?
Okay, we are working hard, right, to do a live streaming.
Okay.
But then it is not confirmed yet. So I would encourage everyone that can make it to the General Assembly to be present. And we hope and believe strongly that by that time, our efforts in having a live streaming, just like we did for the orientation, will come into being. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So the General Assembly, so those of us, so to the postgraduate students, so there will be a General Assembly which the president of Grasag University has confirmed. General Assembly is the highest decision making body of Grasag University, which comprises of you and then every other postgraduate student. So you have to come to exercise your constitutional power in order to make decisions to move Grasag forward.
Sure.
So it is happening at the College of Science Auditorium, 2 p.m. That is Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, 1st of March 2022. Thank you very much, Mr. President. But I want you to clarify one more thing for me, then maybe I take your last words. Concerning school fees payment, okay, as of now, some students have not been able to do that. So those finding difficulties with regards to the percentage and all those stuff, can you just give us a brief information about that? How much is expected of us to pay before we can register?
Okay. The university policy states that first-year students should pay all their school fees. That's 100%. However, if you are not able to pay the 100%, you can also pay 60% of the tuition fees or the academic facility user fees, and then 100% of all other charges. So when you do the percentage, when you add the 60% of the tuition and then all other charges, the percentage that you get when you pay that, the portal will be open for you to register. I can't clearly say pay 70% for first years, because sometimes when you do the percentages, it's sometimes a bit higher than the 70% for the first years, or in some cases less. Second years or continuing students can pay 70% of their fees, and they will be allowed to register. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So, so Mr. President, your last words to the postgraduate community.
Okay. So as part of the programs for the semester, we'll be doing the Senate elections,
okay,
right? But then we'll get the speaker to come and talk about the Senate, and then what the Senate does for Grasag University. My final words for the graduate student community is that As I always say, our leadership, the WAFA-led administration, is all about impact and sustainability.
Okay.
And as we equip our members with the various research tools and skills that they need to know, the networking aspect too will not be left out. So they should keep calm, as I always say, and look forward to more exciting programs for the semester. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. The president of Grasag University said we should look out for more interesting programs as we journey through the semester and then the academic year.
And if you want to know the programs, then don't miss out on the General Assembly coming off on the 1st of March 2022 at the College of Science, Alote Auditorium, 2 p.m.
So when we come, we will see you there.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so
as chairman of
General Assembly.
the General Assembly, surely I'll be there.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President, for taking time out of your busy schedules to even have time and then discuss issues concerning Grasag with us. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. And we say that next time when we call on you, try and then come because we need more of you so that at least we can get a lot of information concerning the association and then where you want to take us to as an association.
Better Grasag.
We are
united for a better Grasag.
All right, I like that mantra. Thank you very much, Mr. President. All right. Okay, so this has been Grasag Hour. And I had with me the president of Grasag University, Mr. Kwabena Edujemfi Wofa. The Wofa is his name. Wofa Kwabena Edujemfi, that is his real name. It has been interesting to have you as my listener. And I've really enjoyed your company. So postgraduate students, join us on the 1st of March 2022 at the College of Science Auditorium for our General Assembly meeting. And my name is Francis Mintah, popularly called FM. We will meet again next week. I'm out.
Send me, yeah. I said,